Well, we're live videoing somewhere, but I just got an error message, so I don't know. Anybody? Live video? Can you see us? Man, it's cold and it's winter and I'm grumpy today. Can you see anything? All right, we're live. Throw some gloves on, you know, because these are warm. It's like a crisp 19 degrees in New Jersey, and we're out here freezing our asses off. Time to part out another one. So this one's a 93 Talon all-wheel drive. It's originally a 5-speed, and it's been auto-swapped. A guy did quite a bit of work to this thing in... we have all the receipts. The receipts are from 2009. Did I bring that? I left the receipts over in the other shop. We'll grab the receipts in a little bit and kind of go over it. But looks like all the work on this car was done in early 2009. And from what the guy's telling me, the car really never went anywhere. He had it built, and then it sat at a shop for what looks like probably a decade. And then the shop went out of business, and the town was going to impound the car, and he got a phone call, come pick his car up, and then it sat in his driveway, and that's how it came to me. So, John, you want to let this thing, well, I'm standing here. Let me let this thing down. This is going to take forever, so. Do we have anybody asking anything about this yet?
No, nothing yet. We have 4 people watching.
4? Hello to the 4 people watching.
I'm one of them.
You're one of them. Yeah, so 3 people. It's probably Jerome, Nelson, and Jen.
Yeah.
We got like, you know, super cold fluid here, so this is going to take forever to come down.
2 hours later.
2 hours later, yeah. So I'll run down the list for posterity for people who are going to watch this video later. This should have a 2.3 liter stroker motor, and we have a receipt from what I'm going to guess is the machine shop showing, I'm going off the top of my head here, CP pistons, Crower rods, ARP mains, ARP head studs, Clevite 77 main and rod bearings. We have a receipt for a junkyard for a core 2.4 liter Hyundai Sonata motor, which means this might possibly be a G4 CS block, which would make it a 2.4, or it might be a standard 6-bolt DSM motor, a standard 2-liter 4G63 block, and the 2.4 liter crank. Maybe they just pulled the crank out of that core motor, and it might be a 2.3 stroker. So we should have a big displacement engine. We've got a receipt for porting the head, SuperTech valves, SuperTech springs, Crower. It says Crower 282 cams. So we're gonna have to get the valve cover off and get some numbers off the cams and see what they actually are. We've got a SparkTech coil on plug kit, a DNP T4 divided manifold, what I believe is a GT4094R ball bearing Garrett turbo, like an 80 pound per minute, 800 and something horsepower turbo. It's got a tile wastegate, the 2009 era V-band flange, 44 millimeter, but it's not the current one with the coolant ports. It's got a 2G all-wheel drive automatic trans swap that was built by IPT. We've got a receipt for like a $2,900 transmission build, and we've got a receipt for it that says a billet 9.5-inch converter at $1,295. Granted, this is 2009 pricing as far as the receipts are concerned. Obviously, we'll be selling the stuff at 2019 used parts price, but the transmission, the prior owner of the car tells me this car did not drive on this transmission or this engine. So the very might possibly be like literally brand new, just built. It's only been sitting in the car and never moved. We've got a road surge shift box, new in the box. The car's got a front mount kit on it that we don't know the brand. We're gonna pull the bumper off and check that out because everybody's gonna ask about the front mount. It's got a tile Q blow-off valve. It's got an AMS sheet metal intake manifold with a BBK 75mm throttle body. I think I'm all my arm's getting tired. It's got an Aeromotive fuel rail. Let me move the camera so we can give everybody a shot of the engine bay. Don't mind the camera wiggle, everybody. I'm gonna do my best here. Wow, there's quite a bit of time offset on this.
Yeah.
How's that look? Everybody see? Ah, that actually worked out pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to this. We got some comments here. Jeff Cole, why the part out chassis looks clean? Dude, this thing's got some rust, number one, and number two, why part out? That's what we do. The car's worth, by my estimation, around 13,000 bucks in parts.
It's not as clean as it looks.
Somebody gonna pay me 13 grand for a car? Not gonna happen. So it's parts car. Plus, what you're gonna see on the bottom, this has got some rust. It's got dings all over it. The body's the peeling paint.
It's been cut up.
It's
got a cell in it.
Yeah, it's got a fuel cell. It's got the interior's kind of there, but it's got some mouse poop all over the passenger floor because it's been sitting for a decade.
Yeah, it's a part out car.
That's why it's a parts car.
If it was worth saving, we'd save it.
We have another one. We have a mint 86,000 mile. Yeah, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag.
You're letting the cat out.
We got I picked up an 86,000 mile absolute unicorn of a 1G last week. I haven't shown it to anybody yet, but it's like literally perfect. It's going to it's gonna get a paintless dent repair. Oh, I gotta send that guy pictures too.
Yes.
Paintless dent repair guy's gonna fix the 2 dings in the car. I gotta tune it, and we're gonna be listing that one probably on Bring a Trailer and Facebook, and trying to flip that one as a complete running, ready to go car. That's high power.
Yeah, we don't crush all of them, guys. Just the ones that need it.
We need to make sure this microphone stays pointed where we can both hear it, because it's going to kind of suck. I wonder if I can change the sound while we're on here. Give me 1 second. Sound. Yeah, I can. We can use the Mevo microphone. Okay, awesome. Maybe we're now getting sound out of the camera instead of my phone, which is doing the broadcast. So. Anybody else? Cool. Why the part out? Dibs on the transient converter. Alex Buck. Okay, dude. The way we do this, we put out a preview newsletter yesterday announcing that we got another car. Today we're doing a live video to kind of go over what's in here and sort of just build excitement of what we're going to have for sale. Then we're going to take Wednesday, today, tomorrow, Thursday to pull all the parts, clean everything, research it, photo it, make the listings on our webpage. And then once everything goes up on the webpage, it's going into a hidden category. So it's not actually available for sale, but it lets us get all the work done of making the listings and taking the photos and uploading the photos without trying to deal with people trying to buy the parts out from underneath everybody else and cut side deals. So then either Thursday night, Friday morning, once we're done with the actual breakdown of all the performance parts and everything's listed on the webpage, I'll make another newsletter email list. That'll go out sort of announcing that everything's up for sale, and then I make all the hidden categories visible so that it shows up on the webpage. So that eliminates on us having one guy who wants to buy the converter and tries to pay for it in advance, and then like all of our other customers that are watching this video and on that newsletter, and there's I think we're at 800 people that get this newsletter. If we make one customer happy by having somebody that got the part quick, we get 10 people that are pissed off that, hey, you sold it out from underneath me and you didn't even give me a chance to buy it. So we've kind of decided that going forward, the way we're going to do part outs and the way we're going to structure this is that we're going to do a preview email, a preview live video. Then we're going to take 2 days to just actually do the part out, clean the parts, research the parts, make sure all the parts we actually are pulling off this thing are what we think they are. And then get them all listed for sale, get them all priced accurately, and then when they do go for sale, it goes out to sale for everybody at the same time. And we're going to make, like I said, we'll have an email newsletter that'll go out first. That's kind of the first thing that goes out. And then I will copy that email and post it up on Facebook and Instagram and all the social media places we go to. It'll be a YouTube video and whatnot. But anybody who's on that newsletter, that email newsletter, they're the people who are going to get first crack at it. So that's what you want to do. Go sign up for that newsletter. But as far as selling stuff today, I can't price this transmission or the converter until I get the thing out of the car, confirm it is what it is. You know, you'll be pretty pissed if I quote you like $2,000 for this transmission and you put a deposit on it and I pull it out and I go, sorry dude, it's stock. Or sorry dude, it was cracked down by where the transfer case attaches. It's just not good business practice for us to pre-sell items before we know exactly what they are. So this video is just about, let's take a look at this thing and see what all's on it. We've made a spreadsheet of the aftermarket parts and kind of what we ballpark think they're going to roughly sell for. And then we've made a spreadsheet of all the stock parts we need to pull off it to refill all the inventory that's out of stock. So that's the way we're rocking today. Anybody else? Christian Lucido. Well, my pronunciation's terrible, so hey. So why are you, so we're parting out? Yes, Hector, Mitsu, we are absolutely parting this car out. That's what we do. Like, the money is in this car, is in the built motor, the built trans, the sheet intake, the turbo setup. It's got an AEM EMS in it. It's got an AEM computer. The money is in the parts. The car is got a freaking bent fender and
Doors dinged.
Doors are all dinged and it's rotted and it's had mice living in it for who knows how long. The car is probably only worth $4,000 as a running, driving car, and it doesn't run and drive right now. And it's all hacked up and modified for drag strip use, and it's got $10,000 worth of performance parts in it. So there's no possible way we can make any money fixing this car and making it run. It's a parts car. Like, this is what we do. We go hunting for these highly modified cars. We break them down, turn them into pieces. The nice cars will sell.
Absolutely.
The roddy ones, the beat up ones, the hacked ones, they go to the squish. Anybody else?
That's it.
More people tagging more people. Okay, cool.
Tag away.
Tag away.
We're going to show you some good parts here.
So, the way we're looking at this, this thing's got a 1/4-inch tubing everywhere. The front mount kit looks like this looks like it's one of those generic cores, like excess power or something. Because like these cast the end tanks are cast. Can you see the end tanks on the?
Just barely.
Just barely. Let me lower this down.
Brandon asked if it's a 6-bolt or 7. Well, it's definitely a 6.
Can you check it while it was up in the air? Yeah.
Well, if it's a Hyundai crank, it's got to be a 6, right?
Well, don't hold your breath.
Okay.
Who freaking knows?
All right, Brandon, we'll find out soon.
We'll find out if it's a 6-bolt in a couple minutes once we get it up.
We're
It's got these cast end tanks on this, so I'm pretty sure this intercooler is the excess power generic core. It's got 3-inch pipes coming out of it. It's got 3-inch pipe going to the bottom of the turbo. Looks like there's a 90-degree elbow welded on the turbo. Wow, this fender's fucked.
Yeah, we bought it like that. That didn't happen when I was moving it.
That didn't happen while you were moving it?
No. And I don't know how the seat broke either.
You broke the seat too?
It was a rough night.
Oh, you son of a bitch. John the Destructor.
I'm also not the one that bought a car with frozen brakes, so.
Yeah, well, what do you want?
John did everything he could to get this thing in last night.
Okay, so. Let me see if I can see here. I need to angle down. Come on. Technology. Let's see how that looks. I have a feeling we're completely angled weird.
That looks good there. Problem is there's a delay.
Yeah. Sorry guys, we're dealing with like really kind of crappy internet here. So as far as parts, we're looking at, it should have a 2.3 liter stroker motor. We should have Crowler cams. The receipt says 282. I'm not sure if Crowler ever made 282 cams. We've got a SparkTech coil on plug kit. There's a Aeromotive fuel rail. There's a set of injectors in here. You got the Allen key? Let's pull these off. I want to see what the injectors are.
Yeah.
The way we got this thing, like half the stuff was unhooked. Like there's plugs down here for this AEM ignition system, this twin fire capacitive discharge that there's no, the wiring's not hooked up. It's just unhooked. I don't know how long our live video is going to last out here with the battery being cold, or with being so cold. It's, man, it's fucking cold out here.
It's cold.
Excuse my French. It's like literally 19 degrees out here, guys. It is so damn cold. We got a little half radiator with a Mishimoto fan. You know, the Honda sized small half rad. What else is on my list here that was interesting? I think the receipt, one of the receipts referenced 1600cc injectors, but it wasn't a priced thing. So maybe that was like something the shop had laying around that I just want to pull. Yeah, the spacers. Don't worry about it. I'll get them out of the bottom.
So these are. Yeah, pump definitely wasn't kicking on.
Yeah, there's no fuel up here at all.
I have no idea
Let me
what
see.
these are.
No markings on them. Well, these injectors have got part numbers on them, but they are Ford injectors, I think.
Interesting.
Well, we're going to have to go and check these things out and,
Yeah.
you know, do some internet research, see what injectors it is.
To be determined.
For this big of a turbo, and the guy said it ran on race gas, it wouldn't surprise me that these are like 95, like 950 injectors in that size, because like the car was built in 2009. This was kind of before the ethanol, you know, came into being.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't
1000
surprise.
cc injectors were big.
Yeah, I mean, these might
10
be
years
950
ago.
to 1,000 cc's, and that might have been huge for 2009. But
What throttle body is that? Did we cover that?
there's a receipt for a BBK 75 millimeter throttle body, and it came from AMS with the intake manifold.
That's a big boy.
I've had a bunch of people asking me about the, is it a 1G head or a 2G head? So that was another thing I'd kind of like to, while we've got the video running, let's see if we can pop this intake manifold off.
All right.
It only takes a few minutes to yank it.
Yeah, I'll get my best guys on that.
Get your best guy on it. I'm going to back this up a little bit so we can. Anybody else asking? Info on turbo. Okay, Brandon, it's a
Garrett.
it's a Garrett.
You know
It's
a Garrett.
yeah. I know it's a Garrett T4. It's got coolant and oil lines, so I'm going to guess it's a ball bearing. This looks like a 4094 to me. By just doing a little bit of internet research of like what would commonly come in a divided T4 with a 70 AR compressor housing. And this compressor housing's got this, the discharge actually like kicks in a little bit. And when I was hunting around for like GT42s, the 42s don't use this compressor housing. And all the 35R stuff is the smaller. So I think this is a GT4094. But as far as what turbine wheel and what AR on the turbine housing, we're going to get it off today or tomorrow. And as soon as I'm ready to list it, I'll know exactly what's in it. But the compressor side of the turbo looks brand new. Like, wouldn't surprise me if this has never actually run. So, what else did I want to kind of go over? We went over fuel rail, injectors. It's got an Aeromotive fuel regulator. It's got a what looks like about a 10-gallon fuel cell, like a square aluminum fuel cell in the back. Some stock pump and all the factory hosing is all gone. It's got a number 10 feed line from the fuel cell to the pump, a number 10 feed line to the rail, a 10 feed line from the rail to the regulator, and then 6 return line. Oh, it has a monster Weldon fuel pump. We've got the receipt from the fuel pump from, I guess it was bought directly from Weldon. Freaking $754 fuel pump. The thing's like the size of an air conditioning compressor. It's like this big. Humongous electric motor and then like the mechanical bottom. So I'm thinking this might be one of those pumps that are electric motor over mechanical gear bottom. But we'll have to get the thing out. The pump wasn't working, and we had no spark, and we just had like nothing going on electronically when we pulled the card in, just tried to get it to start and check it out a little bit. And it was just kind of one of those things where like, it's got an AEM V1 that maybe this thing hasn't run in quite a few years. I don't know. That it's like, we can chase our tail for hours and hours and hours trying to get the car to run. And really, for what? You know, we're going to break the engine down to head and short block anyway. And, you know, looking at the way the wiring is done in this car, like there's just chopped wiring on the firewall. This isn't worth trying to get the thing to run. So we'll test the fuel pump out of the car, just hooking it up to a battery charger and just seeing if it pumps. You know, one bucket to another bucket. We'll make a video about that. It'll be fun when John spills fuel all over his feet with his sandals on into 19 degrees. Okay, fuel pump, fuel cell, fuel lines, regulator injectors, the aeromotive fuel rail. It's got a AEM old style wideband gauge. It's got a V1 EMS. Once I get that out, that'll have the serial number and whatnot on it. It's got some I think it's got autometer gauges. What gauges are in this thing?
I'm going to embarrass myself by trying to get this manifold off.
Yeah, nice. Okay, we got an autometer mechanical oil pressure, the AEM wideband, a 60 PSI boost gauge, whoa, which for 2009 was ambitious, and a maximum performance electric water temp gauge, and a factory radio. Oh, I want to see this. This is the shift box. Yeah, brand new in the box. Road Surge shift box. I'll have to go through here and look and see if I can find the instructions to see what the features are for that. Dude, I can't even feel my hands.
It's a little chilly today.
Brett Roberts is watching. Boost control solenoid. It's got a Mitsu Reman alternator.
What's the boost controller in the front there? Is that an Ingersoll or?
Yeah, it's the Mac valve. You can use that with, it's the universal one. It works with AEM, works with Haltech, works with Link ECU, works with DSM Link.
I got gas flowing on my.
A little bit of gas.
Yeah. He's off. Good thing I wore my black socks with my sandals today.
Yeah, you gotta be prepared to go to the beach.
Every day's a beach. Performance part out.
A beach. Yeah. Dude, my hands are killing me. I don't know how you work in this. What kind of an asshole makes you work out here with no heat?
I just love DSM so much.
Air temp sensor and the map sensor are like threaded right into the back of the intake manifold.
Oh, come on.
Oh wait, all the tools are over in the other building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's alright. There's some Mickey Mouse tools that somebody left here. I'm using those.
Mickey Mouse tools. Yeah, I like Mickey Mouse. Okay. I don't know if there's anybody else going to be popping in to watch this, but we've been going on now for how long?
Maybe too long. I don't know.
Very long. Very likely too long. All right.
I think everybody gets the idea. You know, did we want to get it up and show the
let's roll the thing up, and then at least we'll get some video of this, and you know I can always cut this down later. It goes up fast.
Yeah, when it's coming down, you gotta take a coffee break.
Man, I don't know what this guy hit over here, but this like the body molding here is literally like dug in and snapped off.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't me.
The suspension is all stock. I don't know if they can even hear me with the lift running. I'm going to take the camera off of this and just hand hold it while we're doing this. I think that's the easier way to go. So bear with me, guys. This might suck. So the underside of the car, you can see the front mount. The intercooler piping is definitely custom made and kind of like that's not the really proper way to route this piping.
A little dent here.
Yeah, there's a ding, but more than anything, look, they had to cut the tow hook area out in order to fit it.
This is all cut. I'm guessing that's the
What the hell is that?
Oil filter housing? I've never seen an oil filter
That is
housing.
a weird oil filter housing. And this is a 7-bolt motor.
Ooh, interesting.
This is a 7. Look at the oil pan.
Yep.
It's got a hump. Mm-hmm. Okay, we got, ooh, you got a flashlight or something? Oh. We can maybe see what this converter looks like. Brand new trans pan. Transfer case is nice and clean. I'm trying to see the converter. Yeah, that's a nice... The converter looks brand new. Same as inside the bell housing, looks like spotless. All right, what else do we have of interest? Some nice rusty control arms, dual piston calipers. Stock drive shaft. Man, this exhaust is monstrous.
It is really.
Yeah, 10 feed, 6 return. The exhaust is all one piece. So anybody that's interested in this, I think the exhaust is going to have to go with the manifold, and maybe 3.5. 3.5. What?
Yeah. So the down pipe is 3, and then it flares out to 3.5 at this V band.
It looks bigger than 3.5 to me for some reason. Here, let me see that. Let me see that tape. Obviously, we got a B1H rear.
B1H.
That better be freaking automatic ratio. Or were these guys like not smart enough in 2009 to know you have to change the rear? My brain is not working for me yet at 10 in the morning to know if B1H is manual or auto.
I thought B1H is manual. J1H should be auto.
Okay, well, maybe we don't have the correct rear end for this car either. Or maybe they never got around to it because this rear doesn't look... The subframe's all rusty and the rear end is kind of greasy. Wouldn't surprise... And this is an original stick car. It wouldn't surprise me that they auto-swapped the trans and didn't complete it. And this is still a manual rear end set.
Oh, good job, guys.
Which, you know, may or may not affect value to me at all. I mean, the rear end sells for the same price as the auto for the most part. But... I can't even... Can you look and see if this video, like, even is exposed correctly? But, okay, so there's this, like, this fuel cell. It looks okay. All right, I can't tell with the windows. We almost need to... Same thing as the other building, you know, block the windows. There's a number 10 filter. Ugh, man. There's some dirt and crust down here. So there's this big-ass Weldon pump that we need to get out and see if this thing works, because it wasn't working as far as, you know, just turning the key and cycling the ECU and, you know, turning the motor over. There's freaking ice hanging from the electrical plugs.
It's a little icy, though.
A little icy and nasty. All right, so there's like this little tiny muffler and big-ass exhaust pipe. That's all one ginormous piece. Actually, we do have a brake there, so, you know, it's 2.5 feet shorter than normal. So this is weird. A
Brandon's-
7-bolt.
Yeah, Brandon's asking about the cam angle sensor. Now, you can run any cam angle sensor in a 6 or 7, depending on your tuning.
Yeah, yeah. It's got a standard blacktop 1G CAS, like the original CAS from the original motor.
It could still be a 2G, you know. It could be a 7-volt with a 2G head.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna
We'll find out.
we'll pull the intake manifold off, and we'll see if it's a 2G head or a 1G head. My guess is it's probably going to be a. My guess is it's going to be a 1G head because the 2G head wasn't popular in like 2009 when this thing was built. My gut tells me this is going to be a 1G head with big monster cams. If it's got 282 or whatever the biggest Crowler cams were at the time, and you know, I bet you this is going to be like a typical 2009 combination of like big giant turbo, big giant cams, 1G head, and they thought they could just throw a stroker motor in it would just fix everything and launch right, and I bet you this thing would have never run correctly. But anyway, that rear end intrigues me. If this has got a manual rear and an auto trans in it, my guess is this thing never drove. Like, never drove. I bet you the guy was telling me, oh, I drove it home from the shop. And yeah, no, I'm thinking this thing sat in that shop uncompleted, and the car never went anywhere. And then, you know, the shop got closed down, and the town called the guy that impounded the car, come get your car, you know, looked him up from the plate. And then it was sitting in his driveway, and now it was just like put it up for sale and get rid of it. We also got a trans cooler with a little fan. That's pretty neat. It's got nice mounting brackets and stuff.
Yeah, they actually did pretty good with all the mounting brackets. For like
some stuff's done nicely, and then some things are like that. The routing on that lower intercooler pipe, just like you cut the tow hooks off the car. Kind of need those to put the car on the trailer and back. Stock wheels. The inside of the car is nothing special. The inside of the car is just stock. Broken seat. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what you do after I go home. All right, guys. We've been chatting and going over this for an hour.
So